Yes, here we are once again. Cannabis news with Joe Klare. January 8th, 2019, presented as always by the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find this show. Great articles there as well, social media links, and more. marijuanatimes.org. Today we're talking about new packaging regulations, guidelines, whatever. Well, regulations is a better word. In Los Angeles. Also, what's going on with medical marijuana in Missouri. We'll update you on that. And a marijuana recall for medical marijuana in Michigan. The first such recall. All of that coming up. First, of course, cannabis news is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Grow safe and poison-free with Natureside. Don't use banned pesticides. Don't use harmful chemicals on your grow, no matter what you are growing. Check out Natureside, nature-side.com. Proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Side is spelled C-I-D-E. Go check them out because they are awesome. This first story by Samantha Gurwitz. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. New writer at the Marijuana Times. L.A. Cannabis, new packaging laws, all wrapped up. As you know, in July of 2018, a myriad of new regulations took effect in California, which has affected a lot of things. For instance, according to Samantha, giant mason jars of flour are gone, replaced by tiny pre-packed and sealed eighths. Medicated-free samples are gone for good. Oh, thank goodness. God forbid, medicated samples. Want those floating around. Imagine the damage something like that could do. Stickers and labels cover almost every inch of every package, and everything from pre-rolled joints to bath bombs and to edibles are now shoved inside some new, impossible-to-open version of a Ziploc bag. So a lot of problems are coming with all this. One of those is that apparently these big plastic bags are not exactly great for the environment, and yet now these products are mandated to be inside them. In a state like California, which is trying to get rid of things like plastic straws, counterproductive, to say the least. Another problem is medical marijuana patients maybe have problems like opening these new containers. It's meant to make sure they're safe and they're away from children, of course. But people are having problems with getting into the containers. And to hit on a theme that we've talked about quite a bit here in the last couple of weeks on the show, and I lost. There we go. The newest round of the BCC's regulations went into effect. Many consumers noticed bare shelves that appeared overnight at shops around Los Angeles. The deadline for new packaging sent many vendors scrambling to recall products and get compliant ones back out the stores. The cost of all that on top of the new testing, licenses, and packages put many smaller cannabis companies out of business. Many worry the cannabis is fast becoming another industry that's only open to the wealthy or to rich investors. And well, if you set it up that way, that's what it will become. And I mentioned this last time we talked about this. You have this scenario where lawmakers have all these fees and the licensing fees and those taxes and regulations they have to comply with, all of which cost money to the would-be entrepreneur, making it so those who don't have a lot of money can't do that, and only those who have a lot of money can become the entrepreneurs. And then you turn around and another set of lawmakers will say, oh, well, that's bad now because only rich people control the cannabis industry. So now we're going to create laws that, get licenses to more diverse groups and to minorities and to poorer groups. And that's how they're going to fix it. So one set of lawmakers sets something up and the other set of lawmakers fixes it. And they keep tinkering back and forth when if they would just left everything low to begin with, it wouldn't have been a problem. Any restriction of supply, anything that forces would-be investors out of the legal cannabis industry is not good for it. It's not going to help. It's not going to help undercut the black market. It's not going to help establish a viable legal industry that most cannabis consumers will come to rely on in the same way they do with alcohol products. Very few people buy moonshine from moonshiners, but an awful lot of people I have heard will go to places like liquor stores and grocery stores and buy copious amounts of alcohol from these legal sellers. The same will be true with marijuana if these businesses are allowed to get off the ground, if they're hit with more regulations and more restrictions and new packaging, and all this product has to be destroyed, and you got to get a new product. And it wipes out a lot of the competitors, the would-be entrepreneurs. Again, it's bad for consumers because it drives up prices. It's bad for the industry because it's going to be consolidated into a few companies. There's going to be very few choices for consumers, which is going to keep prices rising. And as prices go up, the legal market becomes less able to compete with the black market. It creates a ton of problems, and it cripples the recreational industry. Any lawmaker out there, I know this sounds dumb. I know it sounds dumb. I'm going to say it anyway, because lawmakers don't think this way, but they should. When starting out with the legal marijuana business, keep everything very low. Then later on, you want to go in and say, oh, we should raise taxes on this. You're going to find a lot of your colleagues are going to be like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, raise taxes? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that. You'll find no lack of support for that idea. But if you have everything high to begin with, high taxes, high regulations, high licensing fees, that only a few people, the standards only a few people can reach, then you've crippled the industry before it even got started, and you've screwed the pooch, to use a rather popular turn of phrase. Is that a popular phrase anymore? I don't think it is. Anyway, you can go check that story out at marijuanatimes.org. And of course, all the stories we talk about here are linked in the description of the video in which they are discussed. This next story, news-leader.com out of Missouri. Missouri lawmakers have filed 10 marijuana bills since Amendment 2 passed. Of course, that's the medical marijuana bill that passed in November of last year. Here's a roundup. Now, to be fair, some of these bills aren't really marijuana related. A lot of them are like opioid related, which, in as much as marijuana helps with opioid addiction and overdoses and things like that, they are related, but only really in that context. 2019 already promises to be a year of marijuana-related news in Missouri. Over the next 12 months, the State Department of Health and Senior Services has the job of implementing Amendment 2, which brought medical marijuana to the Show Me State after a big one at the ballot box November 6th. Work is already happening. The department is going to start taking application fees for dispensary, manufacturing, and cultivation licenses. It is to start taking completed applications in August, so licenses can be awarded later this year. The amendment requires that licenses go out no later than December 31st. Some of what they are looking at includes 2 bills proposed affirmative action for marijuana license applicants. Senate Bill 2 would require the Department of Health and Senior Services to make certain considerations when granting medical marijuana licenses and certifications. A similar bill, House Bill 440, was filed by Kansas City area Democrat Representative Barbara Washington. Similar to the other one. Another bill includes controlled substances like CBD, marijuana, and opiates. Senate Bill 6 would modify provisions relating to controlled substances, including the schedules and criminal provisions involving controlled substances. Another bill would increase penalties for selling heroin. Again, not really marijuana related. Legalizing marijuana with limits. House Bill 157 would establish provisions regarding the limited legalization of marijuana. HB 157. Under the bill, adults could sell and transport up to 2 ounces of cannabis. They could have 6 plants per person, provided only 3 of the plants are mature, flowering ones. The plants would have to stay in the interior of the residence. You wouldn't be able to grow them outdoors on the family farm. The bill prohibits the sale of marijuana plants along with driving under the influence of marijuana, and it allows landlords to prohibit marijuana growing on their property. So, whether or not how far that'll go in Missouri, whether or not Missouri will move that quickly more toward adult use legalization, of course, that remains to be seen. Another bill would prevent the state government from sharing medical marijuana user or registry info with the federal government. Of course, if you're from Missouri and you're interested in all this, you can click the link in the description of this video to check out the story. But things moving along rather briskly in Missouri. Not as briskly as in Oklahoma, obviously, but nobody's moving as fast as Oklahoma. Let's face it. Last story from upnorthlive.com. And that's not the one. This is the story that I'm looking for. I did that twice. I just sat here while I was talking. I did that twice, and it still didn't work. That's the story. First marijuana recall issued for Michigan. The Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, Klare, has issued a voluntary recall on marijuana products. According to Klare, the recall includes non-laboratory tested marijuana products that were supplied to provisioning centers by Choice Labs, LLC. Patients or caregivers who have these affected medical marijuana products in their possession are advised to return them to the provisioning center from which they were purchased for proper disposal. I guess I mean incineration. I'm not quite sure. During the recall, provisioning centers are encouraged to notify patients or caregivers that purchase these medical marijuana products of the recall. You can see the label numbers if you click the link in the description of this video for the story. The processor license batches. You can see them all. The following products sent to the provisioning centers are subject to the recall: Mary's transdermal indica patches, the Remedy tinctures, Mary's transdermal patches CBD, the Colton 1-1 tincture, Mary's transdermal 1-1 patches. So big medical marijuana recall in Michigan. Again, if you're in Michigan, you need to know about these things, of course. The story is linked. I'm bringing you the news, hence the name of the show, Cannabis News. See how that works? I bet a lot of you are watching wondering how we came upon that title. How'd they come up with Cannabis News for the name of this show? It's just, as they say, some people have it and some people don't. When it comes to the creative side of things, well, we're pretty locked in here. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. Those of you who like, share, comment, thank you, of course. Those of you who spread the truth about cannabis with this show, you're awesome. Check out marijuanatimes.org. Also, nature-side.com, proud sponsor of the show. Their organic, all-natural pesticides are the dopeness, as the kids say. So go check them out. Subscribe on YouTube. Search the Marijuana Times on there. Same thing with the Apple Podcast for the audio version of the show. Thanks for watching and listening. And we'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.